at our last meeting, so I'll turn it over to Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I want to provide for you an introduction to who we have in the room with us this evening as we're having a conversation about the downtown strategy that we have a draft of at this time. We've been on board with downtown strategies for a little over almost a year now, and they've been able to guide us through to this draft, and that is where we are right now as a draft of the downtown strategy that is intended to be something we will implement in a 5-year time frame. Unlike your comprehensive plan that you're currently working on, which is a 20-year planning horizon, this is meant to be a short-term plan that gets us off the ground implementing whatever we find to be most relevant through what we have in conversations with you, as well as a core team who has been with us through this process and reviewing this. So again, I want to stress that this is indeed a draft. It's supposed to be actionable, and so the next steps after we have a final is to work with the core team that has been assembled for this to help advise you on what the next step would be that you see happening within the downtown area. So I don't want to take any more time. We have with us this evening Jen Gregory and Jeremy Murdoch, who were able to stay with us until 6:45. They had other obligations, otherwise they would love to have stayed in the room with you a little longer. We also have a link to the draft, so I didn't want to provide that to you just so that you could hear it at once, because it's really impressive to hear without having to look at the details of the writing of it. So I'm going to turn it over now to Jen, who has been our spearhead on this, and thank you for joining us this evening.
Could we take one quick time out? We need to allow Todd, Councilman Foreman, to zoom in on us or with us. Todd, can you hear me? No, I think not. Can you hear me, Todd? Okay. Could you tell us where you are and why you need to zoom in?
I am in Wisconsin Dells, and I'm here for a work meeting, so I had to come up to Wisconsin for a work meeting.
Is everyone here okay with that? Sure. By saying aye. Aye. Okay, Todd, we voted for you to be in and zoom in with us, and yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Mary, I'm sorry.
Okay, Jen, now is a good time. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you so much. Mayor and Council, good evening. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share this with you. We will be moving quickly because this is a somewhat extensive document. However, we have designed it to be incredibly actionable and practical. So our focus is to give you guys a plan that will showcase what you should do for downtown in the near term, not everything that you possibly could do. And as soon as we present this plan, we'll be moving into implementation, of course, pending any revisions or questions or anything like that that you guys have. So fast moving and a big focus on implementation. Sorry, technology is moving a little bit slowly, so I'll skip through some of these initial pages, but I do want to quickly highlight that, again, this process has been rather quick. We began our partnership in November, and I'm sorry, I was getting some feedback. I thought somebody was saying something. Please interrupt me if you guys need anything. I was in Bedford in March, and we presented the first draft of this plan in July. I will also say that we know that the community of Bedford refers to downtown as different terminology. Some people refer to it as Centertown, others as downtown. For the purpose of this plan, we are using the term downtown, but we do want to recognize that we know that that may be interchangeable with Centertown. The plan focuses on 4 focus areas. We will be going through each of these this evening. Let's see if I can get this right. I also want to note that, that on each page, we have an identifier number. This corresponds to an implementation matrix. So again, tonight we are going to be presenting this plan, highlighting the strategies that we have in mind for you guys. All of this has been filtered down into an implementation matrix. that, it will really identify whose role everything is, because admittedly, everything in this plan is not the role of the towns. There are elements that the public sector, either that the private sector needs to participate in. There are elements where we want to see some volunteers and community collaboration. So we have identified that in the implementation matrix. So jumping right in, the first focus area that we want to highlight is policy and administration. This is largely referencing strategies for the town. The first, though, is related to implementation of this entire plan. And this really highlights our process that we recommend for successful implementation. That is through what we call an action team. Actually, we are meeting tomorrow with Mary and members of the core team. I think I saw Ms. Nerva in the room and others. Todd, Councilman Foreman, has been on our core team, the mayor. So we have already had some preliminary meetings and discussions with individuals that have been very engaged in this. So tomorrow we will be meeting with that group to talk about next steps, specifically implementation. But we do have a very specific kind of prescribed process for that. Next, there's a bit of a delay. The next recommendation in this plan is one that we don't make to all of our clients. And we do work with communities that are your size, often much smaller. So this is not something that we just automatically recommend for every community, because we know that resources are tight for everyone. However, Bedford is a bit unique in that there is not a dedicated downtown organization. Obviously, you have the chamber, several chambers that serve this area. You have Mary as economic development director, but also focuses on a lot of other elements within the town. And so we feel like because of this size of your downtown, and quite frankly, the opportunity, that there is room for a downtown coordinator position. So this is certainly something we would love to see you guys discuss in terms of funding. To keep this practical and actionable, we have recommended a phased plan to scale up to a full-time position. Certainly, if resources are available, moving straight ahead to a full-time implementation of this strategy with a 40-hour-week position would be great. But we've kind of broken it down over 5 years, how to get somebody in the short term, kind of what some of those initial part-time roles would be. Instead of just saying you need a downtown coordinator, we try to be very specific about what that person would cover. Predominantly event programming, event coordination, building relationships with downtown business owners and stakeholders, implementing this plan, and also, grant writing and property owner relationships. So this is something that is very time consuming, takes a very much of a grassroots approach, but this is really what we see as needed for you guys because of this next section that we're going to be talking about. Which is related to underperforming properties. I want to brag on the town of Bedford because you guys have implemented several very creative policies and incentives through the Economic Development Department that should be working. They should be, compelling property owners to improve their properties. But that doesn't always work. Sometimes there has to be a stick to sort of balance that carrot. So over the next few recommendations, we will be detailing that, but I do want to take a moment to say you're doing many, many of the right things to try to move the needle with these underperforming properties. However, one thing we found through some public input and discussion was that, no matter how hard the Economic Development Department tries to get the word out about these incentives to your stakeholders, it remains difficult to kind of penetrate, into what they understand, mainly because many are out of town. They're not reading the paper. They don't really know what's happening in the town with those property owners. And there's, sometimes they're not checking emails or they're not engaged. And so first, we did recognize and identify the suite of incentives that you're currently offering, but we think there are some opportunities to better communicate these incentives through direct outreach to your property owners, very targeted outreach, different communication enhancement. So basically, kind of creating a one-pager document that you can share, a dedicated incentives webpage, e-newsletter, and success story marketing. So you can see that we really think that these things will help kind of move the needle, but these are time-consuming tasks that generally go kind of beyond the scope of typical town staff. This is somewhere that a dedicated downtown coordinator could really, participate. Sorry. Next does move into some new policies that we're recommending you to enforce. First, a minimum maintenance standard. This is something that really gives your code enforcement team some teeth to be able to directly go to those property owners in which their buildings are in disrepair, which we want to recognize that does have a negative economic impact on neighboring buildings. And we've heard that from some of the other downtown property owners and business owners that they're trying to do the right thing, but some of these underperforming properties are kind of bringing them down with them. And there is some frustration there. So first, implementing a minimum maintenance standard, and we can help provide examples of other Commonwealth localities, towns and villages and cities that have implemented these things standard. But it quite literally sets the standard that you expect for basic maintenance and conditions of your downtown business or properties, and then gives your code enforcement real teeth to be able to do something about it beyond just public health, which is what we see. The next policy that we're recommending you guys to implement is a vacant property registry ordinance. The Commonwealth of Virginia is a bit picky in who can implement these policies. We work with your neighbor Blacksburg, and they do not qualify for this policy, even though they would very much like to implement one. We do believe that Bedford would qualify for various different reasons, and we can help you kind of through those. But essentially, these registry ordinances first, allow you to have updated contact information for property owners of vacancies, which can be very helpful if the property maybe belongs to an estate and there's multiple owners or an out-of-town owner. So these things can be very helpful. Second of all, over time, you can also fine property owners for not taking any steps to sell or lease their buildings. And ultimately, that is what this is about. If the property owner, have plans to renovate the building and is working with an architect or contractor, they would be eligible for a variance. But if they are making no effort to sell or lease their space, or if the space is in a condition in which it is not tenantable, then they would be fined. And that's really the stick that we're talking about. Next, we are talking about streamlining development processes. And really what this means is, first of all, sort of fast tracking typical downtown project or downtown building maintenance, or other projects, so that you're really incentivizing property owners to do those basic types of projects. That could be utilizing pre-approved design standards, painting their buildings, utilizing the incentive programs with sort of a prepackaged process of how to do these things with maybe a 10-day turnaround or a quick timeline. This is a way that the town can say, hey, we know that we're, implementing these sticks and we're asking you to take care of the building. We, in turn, are going to make sure that when you apply for a permit to do these projects, that we give you a fast track process to do this. So this would not be for complicated projects, but more of your typical maintenance. So that was a quick run through of the policy and administration section. I'm going to see if I can let my colleague Jeremy control screen. If not, Jeremy, just tell me when to advance, or I can stop sharing and let you share, whichever you prefer.
Just tell you when to advance. I didn't see an option to take control, so let's do that.
Okay.
Thanks everybody, glad to be here with you tonight. As we get through the design section, I'm actually going to walk you through the design section and the tourism and promotion section. And with both of those, we really focused on using some of your existing assets and streets, like the Bauer Center, the Memorial, Farmers Market, some of the things that have already created momentum in the community, really as our basis to address some of these current challenges. Some of the things that Jim just walked you through are more of those foundational elements that are working behind the scenes to address some of the bigger challenges that the downtown area is facing. Through design and some of the tourism promotion recommendations, we're really looking at, okay, in the short term, what can we do right now to address some of these challenges, like the underperforming properties, the vacant properties, and things like that. The end goal is to activate these properties and to spark some investment from the private sector. But what can we do right now? So we're going to walk through some examples that I think public art can play a big role in that, and tapping into just your strength as being a very arts heavy community and the arts community that you already have, and some of the work that the Bauer Center is doing, and how can we use that to activate some of these storefronts and storefront displays in the short term. Because you can imagine, as a visitor or a customer walking through downtown, walking past these empty storefronts, underutilized storefronts, makes an impact. It creates a perception of the downtown area that we're trying to shift. And even in cases to where it might be an active storefront, it might be an insurance agent or some sort of commercial office space in there, if they're not using the storefront windows and they're covered with curtains or blinds or shutters, there's ways we might at least use that first 18 inches or 2 feet of space to do something to add to the downtown area so you can advance. So let's show some examples of how other communities have dealt with this. You can see different examples there of even non-retail businesses. Obviously, a retail business understands the importance of window shopping and things like that, so they typically have their merchandise in the window. But what about non-retail businesses like a salon or a gym or something like that? That top left example is a barber shop that has just activated their storefront window with vintage barbershop equipment, like the chair, the barber pole, different types of equipment and supplies there, just to add something to the street, right? So it's a non-retail business that's at least showing something interesting in the storefront. The next two to the right, at the top, middle and top right, are these window cleans that just stick up in the windows. One is just use public art. Different artists submitted artwork as part of a structured program that were approved there. They were installed as window cleans, so that's a vacant storefront. You need that public art to activate that storefront in the short term. So it distracts you from the building that might be in disrepair or just empty. The top right one, they took some historic photographs of the building and blew them up into window cleans to put in the windows. So it added some interest there, and obviously with the history of Bedford, the different stories that you have there, that would be a great fit for some of those storefronts in your downtown. The bottom left and bottom middle are just simple art displays. So that would be something that maybe Bauer Center could help connect with different artists there locally or regionally to temporarily display their artwork in the storefront windows. So now you're having this kind of art gallery feel throughout the downtown area to activate the storefronts. And then at the bottom right, it's just a simple window painting. It's a little temporary thing that sort of was around the high school graduation. And this community is a really small community in the state of Washington, but there was probably a dozen different storefronts that participated in this seasonal window painting. And so as you went through the downtown area, there was this similar style, different color palettes, all congratulating local high school graduates. So it definitely showed community pride, showed that there was an organized effort to address some of these challenges, and really left a big impression on me as a visitor. Right, Jim? And this is just a case study. You see throughout the plan, we often leave different examples, different case studies from different areas, different communities now that address that. This is just an organized effort in Seattle, which is obviously a big city, but this was an arts group had created this program to activate vacant storefronts with art. So I felt like that at least gave a footprint there that you could follow, or blueprint that you could follow with a similar program there in Bedford. All right, Jim. The other thing that was really evident is that the farmers market and the Centertown Pavilion has become just this hub of activity for the downtown area and the overall community. That's been wildly successful, and that there's a desire locally to use this more often for other reasons than just the farmers market, to really expand the use of the pavilion and the surrounding parking lot. So in green there, I'm not going to read all these word for word, but just trying to outline some very short-term treatments that can be done to elevate the things that are already going on there from a design standpoint, bring more attention to the pavilion, and provide different opportunities for engagement, like signage, like banners. We even point out the need to have some sort of a selfie station, which might seem silly, but ways to create opportunities for people to engage with the space, take some photographs and some selfies, because those get posted on social media. It really acts as some sort of organic marketing for the community and for downtown. So Joe, if you go to the next slide, I'll show some examples here. So some things that were listed in that list of green bullet points were pruning or replacing some of the street trees that are aging or damaged. You see some in the top left example. Bottom left, you can see the little planter boxes. You've already started to work to replace some of those that were damaged or aging. Just continue to update those as you can. Those are well done. Sometimes they need to be maintained and updated. On the far right, just talking about that space on the back side of the quilt square artwork. When you're in the pavilion, it's great, but from the street, it's not as obvious of what's going on there. You wouldn't know of what's going on in that pavilion. So maybe some signage. We're talking about using some banners to add maybe a welcome to downtown Bedford's message. This would be a good opportunity for that selfie station artwork, different things like that, just so it has more of a presence from the street. We're also talking about adding some string lights to the inside of the pavilion or along the roof line there, or the gutter line, just to elevate that area even more, especially at nighttime. And then in the bottom middle, looking at maybe there's some ways to use a portion of that parking lot for other events. I think there's some ways with street paint and different really temporary short-term measures that you can do to where it can still function as a parking lot, but during special times, that can be converted over to more of an event space for other things that we'll talk about in the tourism promotion section. The other centerpiece that you have is the Centertown Park and Plaza there at the main intersection of downtown, right in the heart of downtown. The updates that have been and the investments that have been made there are just tremendous. So again, what are some ways we can do to continue to elevate that space? It's a high quality space as it is. What are some other things we can do in the short term to really elevate that and really put an exclamation mark on this space in the middle of downtown? So some of the things listed in those green bullet points are a way to add overhead street lights, and we can provide some examples of how different communities have done that, just as a way to really add that wow factor to the plaza. Really need to add some shade in some ways. I think there's maybe a way to add some infrastructure for overhead shade sails. That's another way to add some pops of color like you have with the bistro umbrellas. Adding something to that left side of this photo along the street, where at least gives you some sort of an edge along the street, maybe some oversized planters or something that would give you a vertical element there to provide that sense of enclosure for the edge of the plaza. And even adding outdoor games or things like that to try to promote the use of that space outside of events. Because ideally we'd like to see people out there during the week, in the evenings, for different areas, not just during events. So Jim, on the next slide, you'll see some examples of things that we talk about. So just some inspirational images from similar spaces, adding the shade sails, outdoor games, different types of seating, string lights and things like that, just to elevate that space. The other thing is when we come in and work with communities like yours that already have a plan in place, is look for ways that we can tap into that and not reinvent the wheel. So the school plan is obviously a very important plan for the community. So we really want to dive in and look at what are some things over the next 5 years we can do to start moving that plan forward in addition to things you've already done. Because a lot of the things outlined in that plan are pretty major investments and major projects. So some things that we looked at and pulled out of that plan were the streetlight banners, which I think is already in the works. I just want to reemphasize the importance of that, and it's a way to add color, it's a way to broadcast the branding of the community and things like that. Should you go to the next slide? Other things would be public art. That was a big part of that plan as well, a way that you can have really this gateway welcome experience in the community. So we looked at just a simple postcard type mural for Bedford. Really have that welcome message. That's another opportunity to spark some engagement on social media and things like that. Providing a photo op. The other part of that plan, it talked a lot about the need for outdoor dining. That's difficult to do given the constraints you have with the right of way and the narrow sidewalks. So we outlined some ideas for piloting a program for converting a parking space or two into a parklet or a streetery program, and we linked you to an example program there in Indiana and how they manage that. And we outlined just trying to pilot one or two just to see what the response is, if people like it, if it's beneficial for the restaurants or not. And then if it works, you can expand it. If it doesn't work, it was just a pilot idea. So different ways that we can activate some of the recommendations from that bigger plan. Similar to what I mentioned in the park spaces, you definitely have some challenges with the narrow right-of-way and just the narrow space that you have to work within the streetscape. On the flip side of that, it's just begging on your long linear downtown like you have, is begging for some sort of treatment like this with streetlights, whether they're connected from building to building, or in that photo on the right, you see where they added posts along the sidewalk to be able to connect those streetlights. I think that would be a very impactful, just wow project in the downtown area to add lighting like that. So those are just some short-term, small-scale little interventions we can make from a design standpoint to elevate some of the things that you're already doing and put into action some other elements from the plan, the school plan. As we shift into tourism promotion, again, we're trying to tap into some of the strengths that you already have and build on the foundation that you already have. So, given that you already have a pretty full slate of events throughout the year, and you also don't have just a ton of staff to lean onto to plan these events, so how do we take what we have and package it in a way that might be more impactful and give a bigger impression than it might now as these one-off events? So we looked at maybe clustering existing events into some sort of package. An easy way to start would be with seasons. You see that example at the top right, where they have spring, summer, fall, and winter, and they package different events into that spring season. Those events are led by different organizations and different groups, but the way they package them is just promoting the community. So it's a way to promote all the things that are going on in Bedford, no matter who's organizing those different events. So trying to cluster those, you have at the bottom photos, are little tent cards that can be placed at restaurants and local businesses to help promote that. Just a simple way to promote those seasonal event packages. Another thing is really tapping into the farmers market. Again, recognizing how that's become an anchor for downtown. How can we use that to spark other things in the community? We're already doing that with the addition of the holiday market that we've done in the winter. That's a great template that we can use throughout the year to maybe use the market as a way to incorporate other groups like the Geeks and Pieces Quilt Guild, Women's Club, other groups that are doing events and activity. But how can we maybe partner them with the farmers market to create a new experience or package experiences together using the farmers market really as that foundation. Summer concert series, again, tapping into really that artistic culture that you have in the community. Maybe looking at just an initial pilot of an event like that. Other communities do like Downtown at Sundown, which is like maybe once a month. There's a little small concert series or Sounds of Downtown. We have another plant that did that. This is not a big festival. We're talking about something where you bring your own chairs, set yourself up at the Centertown Park maybe eventually could grow into the farmers market pavilion. Just a small scale thing, mainly for locals and people in the region, maybe during slow times of the year, to tap into live music opportunities and things like that. Again, a lot of stuff is just we're saying to pilot different ideas, test it, see what works, what doesn't work. If it works, you can expand it. If not, you can shift. So a lot of these things are just piloting ideas at a small scale, and then expanding where necessary. The other thing is really tapping into the program of work that the Power Center is already doing. I mean, looking through their calendar, it's so impressive. All the different things they're doing, from arts classes to different types of events and activities. How can we use that as a catalyst to bring more activity to the broader downtown, not just at the center there? I love their Bower After Hours series, and over on the right, you can read through in more detail different ideas for how to maybe expand on some of the activities they're already doing with their salsa night, their costumes and karaoke. Those things I felt like really translated easily to a broader, expanded event in the downtown as a whole. So connecting the dots there from what's going on at the Power Center to the rest of downtown. And that requires participation and coordination with the downtown businesses. They have to be willing to maybe stay open later than they usually would, or participate on a night that they might not usually be open. But the idea is that you already have this audience coming to downtown. How do we connect the dots between the Power Center and that audience with local restaurants, businesses, merchants, and things like that? And so we listed a couple different ideas, from expanding on their Mistletoe Bakers Market, expanding on the Bower After Hours, and those different types of things. So there's some specific recommendations in there, but in general, that was the theme of the concept. Signage is always something that comes up a lot, especially in a community like yours that has some big destinations. Obviously, Memorial is a huge traffic generator. How do we connect the dots between those visitors and our community in the downtown? You already have the directional wayfinding signage system. We talked about just being able to add the branding to those. You have that strong logo now, the C at the bottom left. Is there a way that we might just add that with a vinyl sticker or something to the existing signs? And then we also outlined some other short-term, low-cost ways to expand on that signage system with what you see at the bottom right, sidewalk stickers, things that just apply to the sidewalk. Those can be used to promote the downtown. It can be used to promote different events. It can be used to say, hey, 1 block to a warm cup of coffee or to a sandwich, whatever it might be. So it could be a way to provide a message for local businesses as well. You have QR codes to them, whatever, but that's a pretty low-cost way, short-term strategy for adding a different type of signage to the downtown area, more dedicated to pedestrians. And then connecting to the memorial. I mean, that is a challenge. Anytime you have something that's not in the downtown area, how do you get people to come from there to downtown? It's a big challenge. We see that a lot of communities that might have a trail system or a university or some other destination. And so it's challenging. But we did list some different examples, from handouts and flyers to create a little walking tour map and things like that that you can use to promote downtown at the memorial. But we also talked about things that you could do in downtown that might be an expansion of that experience, thinking about why people are coming to the memorial, the type of things that they will be looking for, and ways that you can expand on that experience. The photo at the right, you see a simple little walking tour, little marker that can be added to existing utility poles or street lights, fairly low cost. You see the QR code. You already have a lot of this information together with different websites and museums that you already have. It'll just be displaying it in different ways, thinking about the Bedford Boys and the different history that you have in the community. Using this as just another way to tell that story that might appeal to the types of visitors that are coming to the memorial, just as an example. Thinking of the next one is, so I'm going to start talking before it comes up. The other thing is obviously Bedford's location and proximity to the vast natural resources that you have, from rivers and lakes and trails and mountains. Trying to position Bedford as being that base camp for those types of people, the people that are coming to the region to enjoy all your natural resources, really from a promotional campaign geared to promoting Bedford at that base camp for all those types of people. So they're coming to do some sort of excursion, this promotion about Gear Up Downtown, seeing that Bedford is the place they're going to come to eat lunch before they go, to get their supplies, to have different experiences, do the things like we talked about with the different events and activities and things that you can do downtown. This campaign will be geared toward those regional visitors to really connect the dots between them and the different things that are going on downtown. And a lot can be done just through promotions and telling a different story and taking control of the narrative of Bedford through social media and different types of promotions, and just position yourself as the place to gear up before they go to these other excursions in the region. So there's some other details in there that you can read through on your own time. And there's just a little supplementary tool that you can use as you're having these conversations. I'm sure it's not the case in Bedford, but a lot of communities we work with, parking always comes up when it's related to downtown. And you have a lot between the on-street parking and the different parking lots. You have a lot of quantity of parking. It's just how do you make those visual connections to the parking lots, promote the different parking areas and things like that. This is just a graphic that helps have those conversations. You can see over here on the right, you see the aerial of your downtown. Right, that's the intersection of Bridge and Main Street. And overlaid on top, those red shapes you see, the shape at the top is your Walmart, the footprint of your Walmart. The bottom shape is the parking lot at Walmart. And so you can see how your entire downtown, for the most part, at least the core of it, would fit into the footprint of that Walmart. And so that puts in perspective of how close everything is from a walking distance perspective. If you want to take a couple loops around Walmart on a typical shopping trip, it's pretty comfortable walk throughout your downtown to visit the different merchants and things. So you can use that in those conversations just as a tool. All right, Jen, I'll turn it back over to you to close us out.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. So the last section is economic vitality, where we really focus on entrepreneurship, filling up some of these vacant buildings, and working with property owners to do that. So in the first policy and administration section, we talked about messaging to your property owners, letting them know the incentives that you have. Another recommendation here that we have is to do a very dedicated property owner outreach campaign. And this is something that we've done in other communities. What the focus of this is not only, hey, property owner, we have these incentives, but it's also, here is a picture of your building. Not sure when the last time you were here, but here's the condition of your building. And we have this new downtown vision, and maybe we've hired a downtown coordinator. Here are the incentives that we have, but we've also implemented this minimum maintenance standard and a vacant property registry ordinance. What is your plan with your building? Are you looking to lease or sell it, and can we help you with that? Or B, let us know, if you need any support, and we're here. And so this would not be a town function generally. Often it's better coming from an action team, a group of concerned citizens that have sort of been anointed by the town, so that you're not necessarily the one calling these folks out, but this can be very effective. And this is a direct piece of mail, basically, that would go to each and every property owner, specifically focusing on that call to action. What is your plan? Second, want to focus on business recruitment and expansion. We don't want to focus so much on vacancies and empty properties, even though we have heard that overwhelmingly from your stakeholders, that is their number one concern. But we don't want to forget that there are some really wonderful businesses downtown that are doing great work that is often overshadowed by some of these vacancies. And so first, this is an idea that came out of a stakeholder meeting, where your existing businesses and property owners that are at the table and doing the right thing said, we need a way to communicate with one another. Let's create our own portal, kind of our own group. So we really wanted to highlight that as their action item. So first, we have over here a way to give them a private business communication platform. You know, again, this is something that the town would not necessarily facilitate, but more a downtown coordinator or an action team, really giving them a way to talk to one another, empowering them to schedule their own events and their own promotions downtown to really work together as a unit. So that's one piece of it that we really want to focus on. And then also, you know, having a dedicated process for filling vacancies. You know, if these property owners respond and say, yes, I do want some help selling or leasing my space, that doesn't mean that this group of volunteers is a real estate agent or is going to do those transactions, but simply having a dedicated process where being a connector, a liaison, sharing the process of opening a new business, these things can be really impactful, and hopefully these communications and having a dedicated structure where these business owners come together quarterly to meet perhaps can eventually turn into a downtown business association, or maybe one day, you know, bringing back the Main Street program. But really putting that on the property owners and business owners to make it what they want it to be, you know, kind of rather than you guys dictating what it should be. So that moves into, you know, what does that look like? What do these kind of quarterly meetings look like for these stakeholders that have said, you know, hey, we want something to do together. So some ideas for them. First, coordinated business hours standards. This is something that we've heard a lot about in your comprehensive plan survey, that the public felt like it was an inconsistent experience downtown. You know, I don't know if it's going to be open. I come on maybe Saturday or Sunday and nothing's open and it feels dead. Not to say that these businesses need to be open all the time, that's not practical, but if they can come together and really coordinate hours to where when downtown businesses are open, everybody's open, that can be hugely impactful in promoting that. Second of all, shared marketing initiatives where, you know, they are pooling their resources for advertising campaigns and really just coming together as a unit. This can be very powerful. And there are ways that the town can support that. You know, it's hard to support individual businesses, but if they are coming together as a group, you know, helping them with advertising or helping them coordinate with these different assets downtown can be really, really important and impactful. Next, we do want to talk about the need and the difficulty, rather, of starting a business in any downtown. It's a huge step, right? It takes a lot of capital. It's often business owners maybe have a great idea or a great trade, but they may not have experience running businesses, and these are early entrepreneurs that we're talking about. So we've outlined here kind of a startup business incentive program that perhaps EDA can be part of. Mary has let us know that there are some programs that are already happening that are similar to this, but don't really go this far, so this could potentially be a good complement to those. But what we're really talking about here is first identifying those gaps that you have downtown and have done a pretty intense market analysis that can potentially help with that. Also thinking that art and creative businesses that complement what you already have downtown, service businesses that just drive traffic downtown, and then certainly retail or restaurant. These are the types of businesses that really bring people downtown. We want to prioritize those. So how do we do that? First, through perhaps infrastructure, utility support, kind of helping them with the startup costs of utility connection fees and deposits, interior improvement grants. So those would be matching grants that would help with things like storefront improvements, design consults, interior build out, things that would remain with the property over time if there was a transition, and then simply lease assistance. We know that lease prices are the biggest barrier for new businesses. Providing this type of assistance not only helps those new entrepreneurs, but it also helps those property owners because they're getting consistent revenue from their tenant, maybe more inclined to accept a kind of riskier tenant, if you will. We've outlined what that program structure could look like. Again, we do think that it would be great for the town to participate in this, but the EDA and other partners as well. This should be very collaborative. And then, utilizing property owners to make sure that this is something that not only helps those businesses, but helps them get stable tenants, stable rent, and really something that will kind of help elevate the economy of downtown collectively. And then this is a big one. This is a free one. It doesn't cost any money, but takes some time and effort. And this is a framing kind of mechanism. We have put together a front-back page that trains local businesses on how to optimize their Google business profile. This is basically, I Googled where to eat in Bedford, Virginia, and these are the top 3 that came up. So this has nothing to do with me or anybody else, but these are the profiles that have the most activity. They have ratings from customers, they have hours, they have pictures. So these are really important elements to portray the type, kind of the character of your businesses downtown, but your businesses have to go online and do that themselves. There are lots of stats about how important that is. The one that I'll call out to you is that businesses with a complete Google business profile are 70% more likely to attract local visits compared to those without. So very, very important that become a focus. And again, we have a training supplement on that to really help jumpstart that. So that concludes our presentation. We do have a full market analysis with lots of charts and things that we do not have time to go over with you guys tonight, but that market analysis did inform our strategic plan, and we're continuing to answer questions that Mary and the team has about kind of the data and the trade area in your town. So we've gone 4 minutes over, but happy to take any questions that any of you have before you head over to your full business meeting.
So what questions?
It's a lot.
What?
It's a lot.
Let's see, I've got about 2 notebooks full of questions. Do you have I will say, Jen, I was on the Zoom call last time. I was very impressed with this presentation. I like what I heard. I am not usually a note taker, but I did take 2.5 pages of notes. I was very impressed. I followed you almost word for word. And my question is, what is the next step?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that feedback, and thank you for your engagement thus far. The next step is a terrific question. I should have covered that. We'll be meeting with Mary and potentially some others tomorrow morning to chart out our implementation phase. And so, Jeremy, I'm going to let you give a brief overview. Jeremy will lead the implementation phase. It is very quick, but Jeremy, will you talk us through that?
Yeah, a big part of our work and our partnership is not just to input the plan, and that's the exciting part, and coming up with the ideas is exciting, but we really want to see action. That's what you all want to see, what local stakeholders want to see. And that's what's rewarding for us, is to see these things happen. So that's what we're doing, is we're shifting immediately into that implementation support phase, where we'll work with that core team to identify a good starting point. What's the first project that we'll start with, and what can we do in downtown strategies to really help jumpstart that action, whether that's providing templates or examples or whatever resources we can do, and hold their hand, that group's hand, over the next month or so as we jumpstart and get a start on that project. We also have some different tools and processes that we'll show them and teach them of how do you manage projects like this, and how can they use that to activate committees or action teams, as Jim mentioned, to help get other initiatives up and going over the next year. So we'll be teaching them some of that, as well as holding their hand as they start with the first project.
Very good. I've heard the term used. We just need to figure out that one seed to plant and get things going. And I think that's kind of what we have to figure out. But I'm in 100% support of this. We need some guidance and direction for the downtown area, and I've heard a number of people tell me the same thing. So I'll be anxious to hear the highlights from the next meeting, and then what we do after that, and so on and so on. But we do thank you. Anybody else have anything? Well, thank you, Jen and Jeremy. Appreciate y'all coming by or on Zoom. And again, I will keep in touch as to what is going on, and we thank you. Mary?
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time this evening. And Mary, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jen. See ya.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right. You want to take a break?
Yep. So you can adjourn the work session at this point, if you want to, unless you want to resume.
Are y'all gonna have any more questions? Then we'll go ahead and adjourn this. Okay. Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and adjourn the work session, and at 7, we'll go back into our council meeting. All right. And for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I want to welcome everyone here tonight. It's a good little crowd, but again, I've been told we have to start all over here with Todd. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
We have to go through it again for the council meeting and make sure that we're okay with you zooming in. Can you tell us again your location and why you have to be on Zoom?
Yes, I'm from Wisconsin, and I'm here on a business trip. My job sent me up here for this week, so I need to be here for work.
Everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You are good to go again. All right. Again, good to see everyone here tonight. Hopefully we'll have maybe not as long of a meeting as last time, but you never know. Approval of minutes. Everyone had a chance to look over the minutes and no changes, or we're good to go. Report of town manager, Mr. Warner.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang on just a second. We can't close
yeah.
the doors. I think we might just have to ask folks to maybe move their conversations elsewhere. No, thank you, Ann. I know what you were trying to do, and I appreciate it.
So much noise I couldn't hear. Didn't know they had to be, sorry.
Glad we have folks gathered.
And you just take charge, don't you?
Yes.
Didn't mean to embarrass you, Ms. Duncan. I apologize. Thank you, Mayor Stanley, members of council. Several things to kind of talk to you tonight. I don't want to belabor the meeting, but mixed bag of good news and challenging news and all kinds of things. But first, I wanted to note that at our last meeting, I reported that the town had been awarded a Certificate of Excellence for Financial Reporting by the Government Finance Officers Association. Since that time, we have also been awarded the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from that same organization. So once again, I'd like to pass my thanks and compliments on to Ann Cantrell and all the members of the Finance Department in particular for that recognition. Next thing I want to report on is the fact that staff is already beginning activity related to development of the fiscal year 26-27 annual budget. We do actually start that, which it goes into effect July 1st each year, but we start on it pretty early because we have some challenges, and that's one of the things I want to talk about, particularly and bring to the attention of the public. Just as a reminder, I know council's well aware of this, the town will be experiencing a loss of $750,000 of revenue, which is related to the reversion process. That will affect us beginning July 1st, 2028. We do have a plan to address that I wanted to communicate and make clear, and this kind of relates to a lot of our discussions about services and recent actions, so that's why I feel compelled to do this. The first is expansion of the Business, Professional, and Occupational License Tax, or BPOL. That was approved as part of the current year budget, and that will impact affected businesses beginning with the 2026 calendar year. A lot of businesses are already paying the BPOL tax, but we did vote to expand that. People will be getting notices the first of the year in 2026, so just giving everybody kind of a heads up that that's coming. Again, that expansion of that revenue is part of addressing this shortfall. Also, a component was retirement of general fund debt. We are currently scheduled to be debt-free in the general fund beginning July 1st, 2027. However, there are some facility needs that have emerged, basically related to this building, which may require long-term financing and will impact the efficiency of this strategy. So this is also a bit of a status. We're 2 months into the current fiscal year, so I want to let you know where we are. Another component is an increase in revenue from physical growth and land use development within town. We monitor this closely. We did note a 1.4 increase in real estate tax revenue during the previous fiscal year, which we attribute to new building activity. That's actually a new phenomenon for us, so that's a good news thing if you look at the economic benefits of new development. Another part of our strategy is reduction of funding and/or elimination of certain services. Prime example of this is the discontinuation of commercial solid waste collection and disposal service, which will take effect October 1st. I also wanted to make this announcement as a reminder that we will not be in the commercial solid waste collection and disposal business as of October 1st. Want people to be aware of that effective date, and also, again, to address the rationale behind it. The main cost that is going up, over which we have no control, relates to disposal. We appreciate the recommendations about monitoring our collection services, maybe amending that, but that does not get us to where we need to be. And also, as part of that decision, we are aware of other private haulers who can provide the service candidly at a lower rate than we can. So, again, we're happy to continue to answer questions about that, but that is, again, part of the strategy to deal with the $750,000 loss that's facing us. Beyond that, we are also working on a request for proposals related to the possible sale of the transfer station located on Orange Street, which relates to that operation and is also part of that cost that we're trying to avoid. We continue to pursue greater efficiency in staffing. One of the things that people probably are not aware of is that most, if not all, of our current employees are responsible for several duties in addition to their specific job titles. Perfect example is my colleague sitting across from me. Mary Zirkle is the Community Development Director. As part of that, she's responsible for economic development, planning, zoning administration, and all the relevant activities that go along with that. In fact, if you look at other communities, frankly, those are separate jobs, and she's responsible for all of them. And I can speak to that because I was in that role myself once upon a time. Another good example is our Public Works Department. This goes back to solid waste. We maintain our properties, we collect and dispose of trash. They multitask to carry out a lot of functions, mow all the grass in the cemeteries. It's the same crew. We don't have a dedicated staff for individual tasks, so we're already trying to economize to get ahead of this loss of revenue. Another thing I want to let people know about that we're working on is a possible sale of surplus property. Council has identified a list of potential sites. We are currently researching any associated deed or operational issues that might be associated with those. If the combination of these measures do not cover that revenue deficit, then we're going to be forced to consider use of prior year reserves and/or additional increases in revenue collections to balance the budget beginning on July 1st, 2028. And I know this is years away, but this is something that we have to take seriously, and I'll come back to that in a minute. This is an intentionally multifaceted approach that allows us to be flexible in response to changes and to avoid reliance upon any one particular strategy. This looming deficit is something that we have been aware of for a long time. Our inability to address it sooner is already forcing some rather difficult choices that have to be made and that have been made, including increased revenues and reduction of service. In the meantime, we still have to address here and now types of challenges and continue to plan and move forward. This is reflected in activities such as our pursuit of a passenger rail station, and in our work session, the recommendation that we consider creating a position dedicated to coordinating downtown issues. We do try to budget for that and make use of existing resources to make sure we're continuing to meet the community's established priorities. So we can't stand still and wait for things to happen. And in addition to planning ahead, we also have to live in the present and keep things going. Now, it's not all gloom and doom. On the other hand, our ability to absorb this deficit ahead of 2028 implies that we could dedicate that $750,000 to capital needs and to community priorities. So I guess I feel compelled to say this because a lot of what we're doing is aggravating people. It aggravates staff too. And it's a change. A lot of them are changes that people don't like, but that's the goal. I don't presume to tell you that we have it all figured out. This is the plan we have. We're welcome to other ideas, your participation, as well as the communities. But I just wanted to be clear about the plan we have in place, and that the $750,000 is a real challenge that we're going to have to cover one way or the other. We expect that we will. But just want to be very clear about that. Back into the more mundane issues. Do want to let people know that the electric service switch for Bedford Memorial Hospital is scheduled to begin at 8 a.m. on Friday, September 12th. There should be no impact upon adjacent neighbors, but wanted everybody to be aware that that work's taking place. It's another example. The town secured a FEMA grant to provide some redundant power supply for the hospital, because obviously the hospital's a facility that you want to make sure has electricity all the time. This is part of that work and a grant that we've pursued, and again, things that relate to budgetary discussions. Also want to note that on a happy occasion coming up, the Centerfest event presented by Central Virginia Business Coalition will take place Saturday, September 20th, downtown from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I want to conclude on another happy note by introducing a new colleague of ours. Chase W. Mann recently joined the town of Bedford as a treasury clerk, bringing a strong commitment to public service and community engagement. After serving in the U.S. Army from 1999 to 2012, he returned to South San Francisco, California, where he earned a double degree in international business and business finance from San Francisco State University in 2018. Chase has since worked in real estate as a licensed realtor, property manager, and association manager. He holds the Certified Manager of Community Associations designation and a certification in commercial real estate from San Francisco State. Outside of work, Chase is a devoted husband to his wife, Leah, and proud father to his son, Isaac, and daughter, Joelle. He is excited to call Bedford home. He's a new resident of the North Hills neighborhood and looks forward to contributing to the town's continued growth with integrity and enthusiasm. And just wanted to welcome Chase. He's been on board for a little bit, but we're always glad to let you know the new members of the team that are working for him. And with that, that concludes my report. Sorry to be a little long-winded tonight, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Well, you know, in leaving earlier, I talked to Chase, and we had a good conversation. I had no clue he was a new employee. I should have known. Welcome aboard.
Also a citizen and a voter, though. So.
There you go. Good. I'm sure it is a great group here. You'll get along well. You'll learn a lot, have a lot of fun. So look forward to seeing you around. I come up here occasionally. Back to what the town manager said. Yeah, it's good to sound or talk about debt-free, but at times it's unrealistic for a locality. I mean, we're always going to look at long-term debt, short-term debt, so we're probably going to go in debt from time to time anyway. But our main focus right now is this $750,000 that is going to go away. So we're going to have some really good, challenging moments next year, and we'll get through them. We've got a good council here and good staff, so we'll figure out what needs to be done and get it done. Anything else? Any questions? Appearances before council. I have two. The first one is Dan Steele. Come on up.
Commend you for having this part of the meeting.
Thank
Good
you.
evening. Consider the word of God from Acts 17, verse 29. For in him we live and move and have our being. Let me read it one more time. In him we live and move and have our being. Each person here tonight, our hearts are beating, not on our own accord. We're breathing, not because we deem it, but because of our Creator. And what a wonderful thing. And I believe oftentimes we invite him into our meetings or into our life or our plans, when in reality they are his plans and his meetings. And he has so graciously allowed us to be a part and to steward what he is doing. One more scripture and then I'll pray. Colossians 1:15 says, for by him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. It speaks of Jesus Christ. Let's go to him in prayer. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. And indeed, this is your meeting. You are central. This is your town. We are yours. So I pray, Lord, that we would come to you humbly and that you would give us wisdom tonight in decision-making. Give this board of council, men and women, the wisdom and unity to make the best decisions for this town so that you may be glorified. The words are true, Lord, that we only have one life. One life 'twill soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last. Give us an eternal mindset tonight for your glory and for our good. In your name we pray these things. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. All right. Next we have is a, excuse me, Tracy Davis. If you would state your name and where you live, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Tracy Davis. I live at 3962 Forest Road. I would like to thank all Public Service Department, the town manager, last year's town council, this year's town council, for the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit change on 221. It has already made a big difference for us to turn into our driveway coming home from town. Still have to work on the other side because it's still super dangerous coming out of the driveway because it's still 55 on that side. And I know that the town, even though the town council last year passed it to go to 35 on that side of the road last year, the town ran into problems with VDOT not cooperating. And I asked that I have continued support from everyone involved as I continue to work with VDOT to try to get that fixed on their end. And any of you who are taking heat from the lowered speed limit, I'm really sorry you have to go through that. That shouldn't be the way. But I have heard from one of the town officials that residents in the area have called and complained to many of you. And it hurts me that y'all have to go through that when you're just trying to make the community safer. So I apologize for any heat you're taking on that. And I hope that people will be kinder to you guys when you're just trying to do your jobs. Sorry, I didn't think I'd be this emotional about that, but it really bothers me. I did the math. It's actually less than 25 seconds of additional time where it was changed from 45 to 55 on the outbound side, and the changes thus far on the inbound side, it's less than 15 seconds change. So, you know, I can't imagine that people can be that mean to be giving y'all heat. But, so I just put a call out there to the residents of the town and the county to just be kinder when people are trying to do their job to make our community safer. As it is, my property out there where my husband and I live and my next door neighbor between us and the town line, to the best of my knowledge, are the only 2 residents within the town limits that have a 55 speed limit in front of our driveway. And we're on a blind curve. With that, I would like to make an official request to have a blind driveway sign put up on that side of the road as you come into town, at least 40 or 50 yards before my driveway. That would help, preferably with flashing yellow lights so that it draws attention. Aside from that, a different issue, our town manager mentioned a couple of grants when he was talking about the budget. I have been coming to town council meetings, most all of them, for the last year plus now. And what I have observed is that his office and his staff apply for numerous grants that most of us don't even know about if we don't come to these meetings and happen to hear about them. And a lot of the budget, the positive things about the budget, we owe a big thank you to him and his staff for applying for so many grants and saving our community so much money by doing that. And I just wanted to make sure he's recognized and his staff is recognized for that.
Right. We certainly appreciate that, Ms. Davis. I think Bart and his staff are the best ones around. They could go up against anybody and come out on top.
From what I've observed in the last year, I agree 100%.
And you know, it's interesting, I came back through, was in Lynchburg this morning, came back through, and you're right, because there's no sign right as you cross the bridge, usually, I watch cars in front of me, by the time they get up past your driveway, they're still doing probably 50 or 55.
Easily.
Then they start slowing down.
Yeah, they're accelerating as they go up that hill.
Correct, yes. But we appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that is all for the council comments. I mean, not council comments, appearances. Next is council comments. Mr. Haley, what you got?
So I want to thank everybody coming. Congratulations to our new employee. Thank Bart and his staff for what they do for our town. I'm glad to see everybody here tonight. And Ryan, the Bio Center. So that's all I have to say.
Todd, you have anything?
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for being there. Thank you, the council, for allowing me to attend this way when I have to work. And welcome to Chase for the town of Bedford. Thank you.
Yes.
I want to welcome Chase to the town. Thank Mr. Chief Moore for being here. Ryan, it's good to see you. Glenore needs to wake up. Ms. Davis, thank you. We appreciate you. And thank all y'all for coming out tonight.
Yes, mate. What you got?
I'd just like to echo some of the comments already made. Welcome, Chase. Good to have you on board. Expecting great things from you. You know that, right? And Pastor Steele, appreciate the words you had for us there. And appreciate everyone for being here.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody anyway for showing up and also watching on YouTube. There's a lot of people, I hear a lot of comments, they watch on YouTube. And again, welcome Chase. Another thing I'd like to add, our Bedford Police Department's having a Citizens Police Academy. I'd like to encourage people to participate in that. The more you learn about how things work, the more satisfied you'll be with your community. That's all I got to say.
Welcome, Chase, everybody. The only thing is that they said you were in the Army. I was in the Marine Corps, so sorry. But thanks, everybody, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Ms. Davis, I do appreciate it. That's our job to take the heat, so don't feel so bad about it. The only other thing I'd like to add is just kind of briefly think, 2 days from now, it's the 24th anniversary of 9/11. It's hard to believe 24 years ago that happened. But just, take some time to remember those we've lost and remember those that are in harm's way continuing to sacrifice for our freedoms. So that's all I've got.
I have a few things to pass on, but I have to kind of echo what Councilman Foster just said. Ms. Davis, we appreciate what you said. We do have some military veterans up here, and just to be blunt, we're used to being screamed and yelled at times, so we're okay with that. Yeah, and I was Air Force veteran, so you have a mix up here. I heard you said, is that a service? Never mind.
My dad was Air Force.
Good. I've been a little bit on the busy side here the past couple of weeks. Let's see, August the 27th, Wednesday morning, I went to the Welcome Center and attended an event where Senator Warner was there, congratulating Bedford County on their broadband service. Well-attended event, and he spoke, and that broadband has been a good thing for Bedford County. So it is expanding in all the areas. That afternoon, same day, I went back to the Welcome Center for an update from EPR on the comp plan. And so we're moving along on the comp plan and making progress. This past Thursday, 9/4, attended the candidate forum at Liberty Middle School. The chamber asked me to give a short talk before it started, and I did give a short talk. A couple of minutes, of course, 2 or 3 minutes, but that's what I call short.
Did you have 2 pages up there?
Not get that one. But the chamber asked me to give a talk, and they gave me my topics, which made it easy. Leadership, governmental collaboration, and civic engagement. So when they give me the topics, I'm good to go. But it was a good crowd there, not as big as what it will probably be next year about this time, but it was very good, very informative. It was sponsored by the Chamber and Appalachian Power, so we have a lot of good sponsors around. And I believe that is all I have.
If you want a spokesperson for Appalachian Power, would you?
I'm far removed from them, even though some think I still am. No, I was not. I do now know the guy. Revisions to the agenda.
We gonna do committees?
Oh, we had no council committees, so moving on to revisions to the agenda.
I'd like to add one item to the agenda. Not looking for any specific action on it, but it's maybe a consideration to rename the town.
And just, what are you getting at there, the cost or?
Yes, primarily just the cost and process involved with doing something along those lines.
Okay. All right, everybody okay with that? All right, we consider it done. All right, now, no public hearings, no consent agenda, no old business. We're down to the new business. And we are starting off with the main event for me. Proclamation honoring Ms. Frances Coles. Frances, I'm going to say a few things. I'm going to read the proclamation, and then I will come down and make a presentation to you. So you know the routine. Okay. And I've tried to come up with a few, as I say, words of wisdom. So we'll see if it is or not. Tonight we have the distinct honor of recognizing someone who has given nearly 3 decades of faithful service to the city and town of Bedford. Since 1996, Ms. Frances Coles has been a steady and dedicated leader, serving on both the Planning Commission, the Redevelopment and Housing Authority. Her contributions have shaped our community in lasting ways, and it is only fitting that we pause tonight to formally honor her service. And I'm going to read this proclamation now. Proclamation honoring Ms. Frances Coles. Whereas the governing board of the town of Bedford, on behalf of the Planning Commission, the Redevelopment and Housing Authority, and town staff, wishes to recognize and honor the years of dedicated service rendered by Ms. Frances Coles. And whereas since 1996, Ms. Coles faithfully served on both the city and later the town planning commission, as well as on the redevelopment and housing authority, and was elected to serve as secretary of the planning commission. And whereas throughout her numerous terms, Ms. Coles demonstrated exceptional commitment and leadership by contributing her knowledge and assistance to the boards, playing a vital role in the town's reversion, zoning ordinance amendments, comprehensive plan updates, and in the housing redevelopment initiatives of both the city and town, including the original Greater King Street Grant area and the more recent Hilltop Community Revitalization Project. And whereas Ms. Cole's dedication to public service is further evident in her extensive volunteer efforts, always striving to improve the town of Bedford and leaving a legacy of service that will be deeply missed by board members, staff, and the community at large. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the town of Bedford hereby expresses its deepest appreciation to Ms. Frances Coles for her decades of outstanding service and contributions to the town. And be it further proclaimed that a copy of this proclamation be presented to Ms. Coles as a lasting expression of gratitude and best wishes for all that the future holds. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the town of Bedford to be affixed this 9th day of September 2025. And Ms. Coles, on behalf of the town of Bedford, we thank you for your many years of faithful service, leadership, and dedication to the community. It is my privilege to present to you not only this proclamation, but also with a token of appreciation as a small gift. And I'm on my way.
Sorry.
Would anyone else like to say anything? We will miss you. Yeah, come on.
Everyone on the Planning Commission and Housing Authority miss you, Ms. Francis. It hasn't been the same with you since you left, so we miss you.
Well, I'm all emotional now. Y'all ready to go home? All right, where are we? Okay, participation in regional water supply plan. Mr. Warner.
Yes, back to the exciting stuff.
Yeah.
The Virginia Department of Environmental Quality recently amended its local and regional water supply planning requirement. I can read you the code, but I'm not going to. The new document requires all localities to develop regional water plans by October 2029 based on river basins defined by DEQ that detail water sources, use, demand, management actions, and drought contingency plans. These plans must be jointly produced by regional planning units and submitted to DEQ. Plans must also be reviewed and revised by localities every 5 years and resubmitted to DEQ every 10 years. The Central Virginia Planning District Commission has offered to provide its services as the locally recognized regional planning unit. In addition, the PDC is committed to pursue funding through the Federal Emergency Management Association Hazard Mitigation Grant Program to cover the costs associated with meeting DEQ's local and regional water supply planning mandate. In order to accept these services and funding from the PDC, the town of Bedford will need to execute a letter of intent to participate in the Middle James River Regional Water Supply Plan and commit to a local match of $4,000 toward a successful HMGP grant. The alternative would be for the town to develop its own water supply plan at its own cost to meet the mandate. Tonight, Town Council is requested to consider authorizing the town manager to execute the letter of intent to participate in the Middle James River Regional Water Supply Plan, indicating that the town will participate.
And we need to take a vote on this.
Yes.
Do you hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Foster and Councilman Haley. Okay, so you're basically just saying authorize
Authorizing our participation in a regional plan so we don't have to pay to do it ourselves. We're still paying either way.
which would be quite a bit more.
Yeah,
expensive.
it'll be more than $4,000 for sure.
Any questions, comments?
So, they said amend the thing. Is this something that we was already kind of in or something like that?
Yeah, but there was a recent change to the rules. The other thing too, I'll tell you, and this is the life I've chosen, I'm sorry. We're not in the water business, but we are adjacent to a water basin, and I guess we have impacts on that, and it relates to that. I don't think the water authority is covered by this mandate. It's a water supply mandate related to localities that says we're not going to drain the rivers dry, so. I'm sorry, I try to keep my opinions to myself about this and stuff, but we have to comply, but we can do that on a regional basis at a lower cost.
I think Board probably said it in better explanation at his staff meeting yesterday, in more words, and basically, this is a better route to go, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And we also have a couple of years to come up with the money, by the way, I didn't mention that.
Yes. Any more questions? You okay, Clint? All right, John? go ahead.
Mr.
Evans?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Ippolito?
Aye.
Mr. Elder?
Aye.
Mayor Stanley?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 members voting aye.
All right, next, discussion of change in council meeting date.
I'm just going to preface that by saying recently the Bedford County Board of Supervisors changed their meeting dates and times that coincide with our meeting date and time. In fact, I guess they're meeting right now. So as part of that information, we had talked to the mayor and want to see if you all wanted to consider any changes to your meeting time to allow our citizens to speak to both of their elected bodies.
And we have, we're considering the third Tuesday of the month, and just 1 month, well, one meeting a month, correct?
For your consideration.
Yes.
I'll feel obligated to say,
Yeah.
I will meet whenever you want to, if it's 3 in the morning on a Saturday.
Well, we don't want to go on a Friday. And I guess you can kind of help me out here, but the third Tuesday seemed to be the middle of the month that avoids most of the holidays that we've had to deal with in the past. Like we've had to cancel meetings because of holidays. This is really, it doesn't affect that, and probably not as many holidays and so forth. But Wednesday nights are usually church-related or some kind of meeting night along there. Thursday nights, with us, it's Housing Authority and Planning Commission. Of course, Friday's out. From my experience, Monday has never been a good meeting night. I've been involved in organizations that met on Monday, and you come off the weekend, you're back at work, getting back in the groove, and then you got to go to a meeting on Monday night. The ones I had a little say so in, I changed them to Tuesday nights. But it was just a general thought process, consensus that Wednesday, I'm stuck on Wednesday now, that the third Tuesday of the month was the better fit. But y'all chime in.
I just want to make sure that we're not impacting other events that are going on that somebody on council might have.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for everybody else talking, and I'll put my 2 cents.
I don't see why we should change ours from 2 to 1 just because the county changed theirs. How many years have we been meeting twice a month on Tuesday? Does anybody know?
No, I don't.
Predates me.
So
At least
why
since
should we-
1983.
So why should we change because they changed?
I think it gives the folks who are now part of the town and also the county, gives them an opportunity to attend meetings from both representative bodies.
Well, then they need to go back to their days. We shouldn't change.
I don't know that we can mandate what they do, but that would be nice.
I don't think we should change because they changed. I don't see it. I mean, I'm not being ugly about it, but I don't see why we should change what we do just because they changed what they did. And I don't think 1 meeting a month, you can get everything done in 1 meeting a month where you need 2. I mean, we're paid to do a job, and I think we need the 2 meetings to do it.
I would support moving from 2 meetings a month to 1 meeting a month. I mean, if you look at last month's agenda, I think we had 4, maybe 5 items on it. Tonight we've got 3, we got 4 items on it now. You know, if we get to where, you know, we're having 7, 8, 9, 10 items that we have to address, then maybe it might be time to do a special called meeting to address the overload for a particular agenda. You know, there's certainly some value in the 3rd Tuesday, as the mayor's mentioned, but we're already meeting on the 2nd Tuesday. Why don't we just, you know, drop the last one? And that way we can address whatever's coming up that month and any type of feedback we need to address from something that happened the previous month.
Yeah, but our last meeting, we was here till 9:30, so you don't know how long the meeting, you might think it's gonna be a short meeting, it's going to be a long meeting. Are you willing to stay here till 11, 12 o'clock at night to get everything done in that 1 day?
Well, I'm sure during the reversion process, there were a lot of late meetings, and that just sort of goes with the territory. Like I said, we're paid to do a job, and, you know, we'll do
Well,
it.
if we go to 1 meeting a month, you wanna give up half your pay? You're doing half a job, so let's give half our pay away.
We're technically on call 24/7, so no, don't go there.
Well, I mean, y'all opened it, so.
I get calls at night, so.
Well, I
It
mean,
does-
I run a
that-
business,
that
I
doesn't
get calls
matter.
24/7, so,
Yeah,
I mean, I'll go there with you.
but no, I hear your point, but Dave, what do y'all think?
I want to hear from the people who've been on council longer than I have first.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Todd, you have any comments?
The only comment I have is this is an unintended consequence, I would hope, by the county moving their meeting. Whether we need 1 or 2 meetings, it's up to the council. I can go either way with that. I can meet once or twice. I think we need to make sure that all the council members are able to meet at those times. Again, we're probably gonna all have conflicts at different times, so it may be an issue. But we do need to meet at a different time than the county does, because we need to give our citizens the opportunity to be heard in the county meetings and in the town meetings. And we can't control whether they move or not. Obviously, they move to the same days as us. So we can't control that, but we can control what we do. So I know we need to move. Whether it's 1 or 2, that's up to the council. Whether it's what day it is one week, I'll leave it up to everybody and I'll look at it, what everybody has to say.
So, first question, if we change this, is it gotta change it then in the chart?
No, it's a code, or you can change it by code. Also, thank you for clarifying. you can't take action on it tonight. I wanted, if you want to make a change, I need the direction as to what specific change you're recommending, because it'll have to be a code amendment, not a charter amendment.
Tonight is only a discussion.
Yeah, and I think there's a public hearing associated with a code amendment too, so.
So,
Yeah, basically, to your point, you don't have to change. I mean, that's easy. We don't have to do anything. But if you do, we need a consensus of what to put on the agenda to change, if that makes sense.
so I'm just gonna say what I need to say. Third Tuesday's not gonna work for me. It's gonna be straight. So we got 2 meetings a month. Yeah, I like to go one meeting. I'm good with one meeting. So we already had it in play pretty much. Only problem is the county changed their meetings to Tuesday night when we have ours. Simple. Okay, we can't make them change it. I don't think nobody really cares. We got second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday. Bart, don't like, I know the staff on Mondays, it's hard to do a meeting on Mondays, so everybody's gotta get stuff ready. So we already got it in play for the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday. If we just go to one meeting, why don't we just do either the second Tuesday or the fourth Tuesday, like we already got, and it still gives the citizens and the people in town the opportunity to go to supervisors' meetings at the same time and still come to ours too. We're just doing away with one meeting, so either we decide we meet on the fourth Tuesday like we've been doing, or the second Tuesday like we've been doing. And then it don't change nothing. Everybody has, they hear it, you're hearing anyway on the second, on the fourth Tuesday, so it's really no conflict for anybody up here. And then the citizens still get to go to the supervisors meeting either the second Tuesday or the fourth Tuesday. And then we really don't go into a lot of changing stuff. It's a simple process.
But ain't both meetings recorded?
Huh?
Ain't both meetings recorded, hours and days?
It is.
So you're not missing nothing?
Well, but you know, I'm just gonna say this. In the process of doing that, some people maybe don't stream. Some people maybe not go on YouTube and watching meetings and stuff like that. I watch it at least for a city council meeting sometimes. It's pretty cool.
Well, you go on the news and watch that.
But in the process, yeah, you could go online and watch it, but when you go online and watch it, you don't get the, how you say, the experience to come in here and listen to us talk and see us. I get to see John every time I come in. You can't see him on the camera.
I see him go and get candy.
Can I make a comment? I attend, if you change it to the third Tuesday, I attend a meeting for the DRWA on the third Tuesdays. So now you're making me change or choose between the 2 people that have the most impact on my life, my electric rates and my water rates. And, you know, I'm pleased that I'm asking you not to make these.
Incidentally, Ms. Layton, you probably are aware, the Water Authority is actually talking about changing their time as well in reaction to what the Board of Supervisors did. Yeah. Not blaming our neighbors up the street at all, mind you, I'm sorry.
I'm in favor of the one meeting, but I would ask council to consider everything. Like I said, we don't have no conflicts on the second or the fourth Tuesday. Let's just do one of them and just be done with it. And we'll make it one meeting. That's my opinion.
What do you think?
One meeting suits me, but, you know, if you want to do third Tuesday, okay. Whatever we all agree on.
What say you, Dave?
Well, again, I just want to make sure that if we go to one that, you know, it doesn't conflict with like, Ms. Councilman Haley's, meetings on the third Tuesdays. If we go to one, I just want to make sure we're all able to go. I don't have a problem with going down to one, and if the agenda increases for some reason, and we have to have a special call meeting, then we can do that.
I think I even remember one time Bart had something for us, talked about it years ago, and he sent an email out, and we either agreed to it or disagreed to it or something. It was like action we took over the email, so it was a simple process, and then we went from there.
Well, Vice Mayor, what is your thoughts?
Well, I think I led off with my thoughts, but,
Just to restate.
Considering the weight of the agendas that we've been experiencing here lately, I would certainly support one meeting. If we, and the town manager can keep us apprised, if we start to get things accumulating upon one particular agenda, then, we could look at doing, a special call meeting to cover any of the overload. Whether we choose one of the dates that we're already meeting, or the third, now with everybody changing their meeting dates, we really can't, offer her any guidance on, on anything, or ourselves any guidance. So, until the smoke and dust settles, I would say we're already meeting on the 2nd and 4th. Choose one of those and doggone the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
So I think we all,
also need to remember, some of us have businesses that we run, and we have to make plans. So if we're gonna meet on the 2nd Tuesday, and I have and I plan a business, and then you come up and you say, well, we're gonna have a meeting on the 4th. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be here because I have a business to run. So I can't tell my client, no, I can't service you because I gotta stop all of a sudden because I gotta go to a meeting. So, I don't get to sit at home and I got a business to run, so I have to plan my stuff out accordingly. So I can't just pop up to a meeting. Dwight, I see you look.
I think we all can agree, we're okay with one meeting.
No,
but-
we're not all okay with it.
Well, we're talking about one meeting, we just are not agreeing on what time of the month. If it's 2nd Tuesday or 3rd or 4th, am I correct? So, and yours is, Bill's meeting,
Yes, sir.
okay, and there's no way to change that meeting,
There's no issue.
but it's been changed before.
Well, I have to go through the whole process of trying to change it, and I have to get deposition and stuff like that. But what I was saying earlier, we're already attending the 2nd and 4th Tuesday. If we just do the 4th Tuesday, then we'll be a month into the next meeting, and the citizens can go to the 2nd Tuesday and the supervisors up here. So you're really not changing that, you're just dropping a meeting off. That's all you're really doing. And you're not recreating the wheel.
But if it's a meeting they want to go to for both, then they have to decide. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the challenge, is there's a public hearing at both meetings.
Yes.
And they want to be at both, and we're causing a conflict. So we have to adjust because of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm in favor of the 3rd. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I thought you were saying something.
I mean, just again, you don't have to make a decision.
Yeah,
I know this is a very contentious thing for all.
Let's just give it some thought.
But what we can do is draft an ordinance, and I'm just gonna throw a date out there because you'll have to debate it later anyway.
Yeah.
Say, because we've already said we talked about the 3rd Tuesday once a month. You would have to take action to do that. On a future agenda, we will present that as a code amendment, which you would still have to debate and change.
You okay with that?
Well, is that,
Not saying that's I'm not saying that's what the outcome's gonna be, but that's what we will put out.
not just, is the 3rd Tuesday the hard, there is a 1st Tuesday too.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
There are holidays that conflict with that, but that's the only thing I'm aware of.
And
I like it first Tuesday.
if we're,
I can draft it for the first Tuesday if that's a consensus.
I'm just saying, if the reason we're looking at going to one is to deconflict with the county, and we got at least one council member for sure that has something ongoing every 3rd Tuesday, and it seems like the first Tuesday would be a viable alternative to that as well, if we were going to go down to one.
let's, why don't we sit on it, think about it, and give it some more thought, and bring it back later.
Just tell me when.
Okay. Are we okay on that one? Okay. All right, last thing is to rename Bedford, and Vice Mayor Updike, you take over.
Okay. Throughout the history of Bedford, we've changed our name 3 times. We've gone back to the town of Bedford. We started off at Liberty and started off as the town of Bedford City, and then I think we dropped the city portion as part of it, and then we just recently reverted back to the town of Bedford. So this isn't something that's new to this particular board, or this governing board anyway. But we had a lot of emphasis on revitalizing downtown, trying to regenerate things. There are a number of businesses that go through a rebranding process. Anybody ever heard of Voice Stream Wireless? Well, it goes by T-Mobile now. Or how about United Telephone Company? It's Sprint now. Backrub. Google is what it's called now. Brad's Drink, Pepsi-Cola. Blue Ribbon Sports, Nike. And Auction Web, eBay. So there are examples of a number of entities rebranding themselves and benefiting immensely from it. There's been several discussions about what can we do to bring people back to Centertown, to businesses and stuff, and we're looking for that. I think the mayor used, what's that one seed that we can do? We don't know what that is. This could be a start, but everything is price prohibitive. Okay, so what I would like from council tonight is just a consensus to authorize the town manager to look into what the process would be and how much it would cost to do something like that.
Okay, open up.
There, were you talking about getting all the entrance signs too included in that cost?
Just like we did for the reversion, I guess it'd be the same scenario.
Oh, yeah, all the ones with Bricklands and all that, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just wondering what the genesis is for wanting to do a name change, other than, is it more toward the revitalization, or is it for what is behind the thought process behind it, I guess?
Well, that's part of it. I think that we've gone through this reversion where we're coming back to a town. Well, let's come full circle and go back to the town of Liberty, go back to our roots more or less. But the people that I have floated this by, in the community, yeah, 2/3 like it. Thirds has some opposition to it. One of the things that I have encountered several times is when I go to different training events or conferences, and I'd say, they say, "Where are you from?" I go, "Bedford." "Oh, Bedford County?" No, the city of Bedford at that time. "Oh, okay." Yeah, I mean, this was just reoccurring throughout my 27 years with the police department. I have been to at events out of state, and there's a lot of people that just couldn't wrap their head around your city is the same name as your county, and I said, well, it's really kind of a common thing in our little area, but it seemed like everywhere else is, it seemed like it would cause, some confusion. And again, I spent many times explaining, no, not the county, the city, or now the town. So, yeah, just for me, I think it would be a way just to separate things. I think I read an article in Bedford paper not too long ago, several months ago, but it was talking about some of the good things that our counterparts across the street are doing, and some of the accomplishments that they've had. Well, we're kind of in that same predicament. We've accomplished a whole lot, and we're looking to accomplish a whole lot more. And I just like to make sure that the people that work to make these accomplishments happen, that recognition goes to the proper entity that created those initiatives.
So what do we, I understand what you're saying, so what are we authorizing the town manager to actually do?
The cost and the procedure to do something like it, if we were to do it.
And we're not voting to do that. No.
So are we just getting like an estimate or something like that, or in the sense of speaking?
Well, since we,
Oh, because we're not voting on it, that's why I was asking.
right, just as a body, just
The Vice Mayor just is interested in the cost and the process we would have to go through is all. And I can, as Councilman Foreman said, it would be a lot of signage involved alone, trucks. I can only imagine. I know the company I've retired from went through a logo change, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's long-term. But nonetheless.
I'll give it the old college try, but I'll tell you, there'll also be impacts on our private citizens. I mean, everybody will change their address and those, but, yeah. I guess what I'm going to warn you about is I'll give you the costs I can identify, but it will not be an exhaustive list. Process is probably easier. The town attorney can help me with that. I will produce a figure, but I won't tell you that it is the maximum.
understood.
Thank you. Okay.
So what would the time frame be on that?
Oh, I'll work on it in my copious free time during the week.
That doesn't give us a lot of encouragement. You don't have a lot of free time.
I'm sorry. Let me use an accountant's answer. When would you like to have it?
You said earlier that people wear multiple hats, so give it the chase.
Hey, welcome to Bedford.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be flippant. When would you like it? That'll help me manage my work schedule.
Let's see, where are we? This is September, October? I mean, November, I'm sorry. I meant to give you 2 months, but.
It may impact my ability to do other things, but I'll let you know that too.
Whether it's the first, second, or third, or fourth.
Well, not to bring up both meetings in November currently are impacted by holidays, so we were probably going to talk about having one meeting in November, but
In December.
we'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. All right. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anything else to come before the council? I think we are good, and we will, excuse me, I will adjourn this meeting until 6 p.m. on September the 23rd for a work session on electric PCA. Meeting adjourned.